everyone, it's Rise and Shine time again. The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Let's rise and shine.
And worship God.
So rise and shine and give God the glory, glory. Rise and shine and give God the glory, glory. Rise and shine and give God the glory, glory, children of the Lord. So rise and shine and give God the glory, glory. Rise and shine and give God the glory, glory. Rise and shine and give God the glory, glory, children of the Lord. Now, Easter Sunday may feel a long time ago now, and I wonder if you still have any Easter eggs left. Have to see whether I can make mine last till the end of the Easter season. But we're thinking about the resurrection appearances of Jesus, and last week we encountered Mary weeping in the garden on Easter Sunday morning, and she thought Jesus was a gardener until he said her name and she recognised him. And we had good fun making names in different ways, and Kaylin has sent in a picture of his name made in pasta. So we're going to hear another story about Jesus appearing to his disciples, and today we're going down to the lakeside, and the story is read by Jack and his mother Louise.
Later on, Jesus revealed himself again to the disciples at the Sea of Galilee. This is what happened. Simon Peter, Thomas, Nathanael, James and John, and 2 other disciples were together. Simon Peter told them, "I'm going fishing." They all told him, "We'll go with you too."
So they went out and got into the boat, but didn't catch a thing that night.
Just as dawn was breaking, Jesus stood on the shore. The disciples didn't realise it was Jesus. Jesus asked them, "You don't have any fish, do you?" They answered, "No." "Throw the net on the right-hand side of the boat," Jesus said, "and you'll catch some."
So they threw the net out on the other side and were unable to haul it in because it was so full of fish.
John told Peter, "It's the Lord." When Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he put off his outer coat and jumped into the sea.
The other disciples followed in the boat, dragging the net full of fish. When they arrived at the shore, they saw a charcoal fire with fish lying on it and some bread.
Jesus said, "Bring me some of the fish you've just caught." So Simon Peter went aboard and dragged the net ashore. It was full of large fish, 153 of them. And although there were so many, the net was not torn. Then Jesus told them, "Come, have breakfast." Now none of the disciples dared to ask him, "Who are you?" because they knew it was the Lord. Jesus took the bread, gave it to them, and did the same with the fish. This was now the 3rd time that Jesus revealed himself to the disciples after he had been risen from the dead.
Breakfast on the shore with Jesus. How amazing. I wonder which is your favourite meal of the day. I can't get going until I've had my breakfast. But do I want barbecued fish for breakfast? I'm not sure about that. But I do like fish fingers. I know. How about fishy, eggy bread? Let's see whether we can make some fishy, eggy bread. And for that, we're going to need some bread and some eggs. But first of all, I'm going to make my fish pattern for the fishy bit. So I've got a piece of greaseproof paper, and before I've done any of this, I've washed my hands and put on my apron. and I check it for size. Yep, that will fit on my piece of bread. And then I'm going to fold it in half and draw half a fish. It's so much easier to draw half of something, and then you can cut it out, unfold it, and you've got a better shape than if you try to draw it all at once. So here we are, the fish's head. And then the tail. I think it might need to be a bit fatter than that. I'm going to make it a bit bigger. I don't want to waste too much of the bread. There we go. A lovely fish. Let's see what that's like when I cut it out. And again, I'm using scissors, so you shouldn't be doing any of this without a grown-up with you to help you choose some safe scissors. I'm cutting round it. And now let's get the bread and see if it fits. Oh, there we go. How about that? That's quite a big fish. So I've got a knife with quite a sharp point, and again, no touching knives without a grown-up around. And I'm just going to sort of stab round it, gently like this, all the way round. I think I could make the tail a bit bigger actually. Just cutting this now. Turning it around a bit so I can do it safely. The tail, and then I'm doing that stabbing movement again. It is particularly important on the round bit. It's very difficult to do it any other way. Go. You can take the paper off, don't throw it away because you might just need to get it out again to check your shape, depending on how well we've done. Oh, we've not done too badly here. Let's carefully take the bread away. And you can save that to eat later, to nibble at if you're hungry whilst you're cooking. Or we could even fry that up later. So there we go, we've got a lovely fish shape there. So I'm just going to put that to one side. And I'm going to get my eggs. Now, you probably only need one egg or even less than that for one fish, but I think other people in the family might want fishy eggy bread. So I'm going to use 2 eggs. And this is how I was taught. I don't actually do this in this dish. I don't want any eggshell in my bowl, do I? This is how I was taught to break eggs when I was at school. Just tap very gently round with a safe knife. All the way round. And then clean hands, remember, to open it up, put it over the bowl where it wants to go, and there we go. But another way to break eggs is to just do it like this. There we go. 2 eggs is plenty, just getting all the egg white out. And now I'm going to add just a drop of milk. And some salt and pepper. too much salt. And then I've got my hand whisk and I'm going to whisk it all up. Whisk, 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 whisk. Give it a good beat until it's all mixed together. And then put that to one side. I've got this lovely bowl with a nice flat bottom for the fish to go swimming in. Yes, he will fit. So what I'm going to do is pour in the eggy mixture. Get all the last little bits off. And take my fish for a swim. And I think Peter the cameraman will want one as well, so here's one I've made earlier. It's a bit smaller, but if you notice here, I've got a nice little finger bit, so I can even make an eggy fish finger. I'm going to leave them like that for a little while. And I wonder whether when Jesus was fishing with his disciples on the lake, and of course they weren't sure what had happened to Jesus at this point, they kept seeing him and then he kept disappearing, but I wonder if when they were out on that lake all night, they remembered how Jesus kept them safe when the storm came up. They were very frightened, and Jesus was asleep and sleeping through the storm, but they were so frightened they woke him and said, "Jesus, wake up! The storm, we're perishing." And Jesus calmed the storm. He said, "Peace, be still." And there's a song about that. With Jesus in the boat, you can smile through the storm. And Caritas, who used to play the piano for us at Rise and Shine until she moved to West Heath, and her daughter Joanna are going to sing it for us whilst this soaks. And this has soaked for just a little bit now, so I'm going to very carefully now turn over. Ooh, I'm going to need something else to help me do this. Hold it there a minute, I'll be back in a moment. I need this. This will make it a lot easier to turn the fish over. I hope I'm not going to lose half a tail. Oh dear. Let's pop it back. And the other one. And turn them over. And some of these little bits I'm just going to tear up and see if they'll fit in as well, so that we're not wasting any of it, and there's lots of eggy bread for us. Are you looking forward to it, Peter cameraman?
Yes.
Good, good. Very much so. You sound hungry. I think that's about all I can fit in, so I'll just leave that to soak. And we'll enjoy Caritas and Joanna singing, "With Jesus in the boat, you can smile through the storm."
With Jesus in the boat, we can smile through the storm. Smile through the storm, smile through the storm. With Jesus in the boat, we can smile through the storm. As we go sailing home, sailing, sailing home, sailing, sailing home. With Jesus in the boat, we can smile through the storm. As we
So the fishy eggy bread has had a good soak, quite a bit longer than actually the singing of the song took. You'd have to sing it probably about 20 times to cover the time that this has soaked. But now it's ready to fry. So I've got a frying pan, and I've put a little bit of oil in it, and I'm just going to spread it all around the frying pan. And then very carefully, and again, this is a task to do with a grown-up with you, to take the fish out, hope the tail doesn't fall out, and put it in the frying pan. Ooh, I can just hear it sizzling nicely. And the rather smaller one. And the eggy fish finger. And then the other little bits. And we just leave that to fry gently for a minute or two, and then we'll turn it over. Well, I've managed to make 2 fish, but Peter and his friends managed to catch 153 fish. That's an awful lot of fish. And the net didn't break. I wonder if Joe's net broke, because Joe was doing a charity penalty shootout last Sunday, and he kicked lots and lots and lots of balls at that net. We'll find out in a minute how he got on. But before that, I'm going to toss my eggy bready. Ooh, yes, we're doing well here. See how it's getting on. Still looking vaguely fish-shaped, and it's got stuck here. There we are. We'll do the fish finger one next, I hope. There we go. And the other little bits and bobs. What do you normally have for breakfast? I normally have porridge and then some toast. But it's always a treat to have a cooked breakfast. It was a real treat for the disciples when Jesus cooked breakfast for them on the shore. And they could tell it was really Jesus because, well, some people think, oh, maybe you've seen a ghost. But a ghost doesn't get a fire going and cook breakfast. And of course, they'd see the scars on his hands. I wonder what else we can do with a fishy theme to it. Maybe you could make some fishes out of paper and decorate them. Joe and his little sister Lydia have done that, and then they've played Flap the Fish. That's a party game I used to play when I was a child, and I still quite like playing it now. So we're going to go and see them play Flap the Fish, and then we're going to see Joe and his penalty shootout. And I hope that this will be ready soon, and Peter and I will be able to enjoy a really lovely fishy eggy bread breakfast.
Hello.
Right, you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Hello, everybody. Okay, thank you for sponsoring me. And I'm doing this for the Children's Society and St Laurence Church. That is my church.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Come on, Joe.
Oh, beautiful goal, Joe. Oh, off onto the... Nice, Joe. That's pretty good. Woohoo! High five. Keep going.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
High five, Joe. Well done, Joe.
Well done, done.
Hello everybody, my total score, because I've just finished my 1 hour of shooting penalties, and the total shoots I did was 337 and I scored 150, and some of those were top corner and it was 19 of top corners. Yes, thank you for sponsoring me. Bye. Bye.
So well done, Joe and Lydia playing Flap the Fish, and Joe with his penalties shootout. 150 goals you scored, Joe. Only 3 less than the number of fish in the net. And how much have you raised? £550 and rising, plus over £100 in gift aid. Isn't that brilliant? And it's going to support your church, St Laurence, and also the work of the Children's Society, which is working with children in Birmingham. Some of them are refugees, some of them have got unhappy lives, and some of them have got mental health problems. So it's going to be used really, really well. So thank you to you and to all who have supported you. And now we come to our prayers. And we sang, or rather Caritas and Joanna sang, about being in the boat in the storm and Jesus being with them. And sometimes life feels rather stormy. It can feel stormy when we've broken something. It can feel stormy when we've got something wrong. It can feel stormy when the weather's stormy. It can feel stormy when we're worried and anxious. So in these storms of life, let us remember that Jesus is always with us. And he says to us, "Peace, be still," just as much as he did to the disciples on the stormy sea. Peace be with us. Peace be with you. Peace with all those who are going through the storms of life. And when we feel it is a bit much, it can be really good just to stop and take a few deep breaths and maybe say the Lord's Prayer with or without actions. But we're going to do it with actions now. And then after the Lord's Prayer, Elaine is singing the blessing prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And peace be with you until we meet again.
God in heaven, hear my prayer. Keep me in thy loving care. Be my guide in all I do. Bless all those who love me too. God in heaven, hear my prayer. Keep me in thy loving care.
Hear my prayer, keep me in thy loving care. Be my guide in all I do. Bless all those who love me too. God in heaven, hear